What's up, comic book fam? It's Ruben from IRF Authentics, welcoming you to the featured artist spotlight for the June IRF Authentics Autograph Mystery Box. I am joined by Mary, Zorilita, Bellamy, and I'm super excited. Mary, thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me. Many of you might know my most popular work is the My Little Pony artist that I do covers for IDW Comics. I recently was picked up as being an artist for Renegade Game Studios for their tabletop My Little Pony game, but I've been in comics since the late 90s, early 2000s with various anthology books like Radio Comics Manga File, Furlough, Antarctic Press's Ninja High School Yearbook, Gold Digger Yearbook, manga zine, all sorts of stuff. I've been an inker on Shanda Fantasy Arts. I've been a writer, a creator, colorist for like Scholastic and HarperCollins and Oni. And for Second, I've done literally like tons of stuff in comics. And on top of that, I also published my own two series, Faux Fact, The Truth Can Be Strange, and Ah Heck, The Angel Chronicles. Faux Facts is about a group of friends where crazy things happen to them, junk food nightmares, cartoon characters come to life, killer starfish. And Ah Heck is about a girl who winds up in the underworld as part of a reform program, only she doesn't get the message and turns all heck upside down. So I've been in comics for like ever, and I'm glad to be a featured artist on your latest project.
Thank you. Look, I appreciate. I'm super excited about you being here. You know, you're a local talent. We're not too far from each other, and I love working with local folks for sure. And I just want to start. In case anybody doesn't stick around for the whole thing, it's been an absolute pleasure working with you. Super professional, on time to everything we've scheduled, early to everything that we've scheduled. Super quick turnarounds. You did so much art for this box, which we'll show later in this spotlight. And I'm a big fan of your style. I really hope that our subscribers dig your style. Perhaps many of them hadn't heard of you prior to being featured on this, and I think they're going to be very pleasantly surprised with the quality of the work that you really put into these. I keep turning this way because I'm looking at the art, right? I'm like super excited to show it off, but I'm really grateful. A quick note on the books. Sorry, on the box. We don't have a date yet as of the time of this interview. Mary's super early on top of everything, so we're doing this early in June, and the box is likely going to launch towards the end of the month. But every box is going to have some sort of art from Mary. Okay, so you're going to get either a sketch card, a full color sketch card. I actually pulled a few of my favorite ones, and we've got all sorts of genres. So we've got, comics related, video game related, Disney related, right? Some of you platinum members may have already seen some of the sketch cards that she did for us. All of these are also, IRF Authentics certified exclusives, individually numbered and signed in the back. And they've got Mary's card, which you can always use to contact her and follow her on social media. Aside from that, actually, Mary is going to hook you guys up. There's going to be a special offer in every box. If you want to get a commission from her, whether that be a sketch card, sketch cover. I personally got one from her, aside from what she did from the boxes. Loved it. Super fast turnaround. And as I said, I dig her style. I'll probably show it off, when we get closer to launch for everybody to see. But the sketch covers, Mary, you went above and beyond because we agreed on something, and you did much more, in my opinion. So for those of you who are familiar, usually our featured artists will do some sort of quick sketch, something that looks really cool, but pretty raw, for lack of a better term. And Mary, I can't really call these raw. I mean, these look pretty legit. We did 3 different versions. Okay, so we did a ballpoint pen version, which was more of kind of like what we called your quickie or warm up. We also did an inked version. Okay, which is just a little more outline, a little cleaner, for lack of a better term. And then we've also got some that are your colored versions as well. And, again, I really dig your style. I'm a big anime fan, manga. So whenever I can combine both universes, I'm a happy camper for sure. And I feel like you really do that. And I know that you also draw just strict comic style as well. But what attracted me to your style to begin with a few years ago was definitely that I felt it was an awesome mixture of combining both universes. And that's something that I truly appreciate.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I like to put everything I'm influenced into one big project, and just makes me super happy to draw stuff that's super lively and animated.
Yeah, well, it definitely is. And actually, before I forget, aside from the art, Mary mentioned that she has worked in all sorts of comics, most notably, or probably most recognized for her work on IDW's My Little Pony. Mary hooked us up. Half of the boxes are going to have a signed comic from her, and all of these comics are retailer incentive ratio variants. Okay, so we've got no common covers for Mary. If you're getting an autograph book for Mary in our box, you are getting a retailer incentive. I think they're all anywhere between 1 in 10, 115, 1 in 25.
Yeah,
you know,
I think it's 1 in 10.
1 in 10. All right, and they're all signed, of course, and a quick little doodle, maybe remark on it, depending on what book you ended up getting. So pretty cool stuff. And Mary, before we get started, I did have some questions I wanted to ask you, but was there anything else you wanted to tell our followers? Anything? I know you're going to be at San Diego Comic-Con next month.
Yeah, I'm going to be in the small press section under Zorilita Mary Bellamy, small press N4, where I've been every year since 2009. We're right across from aisle 1700 in that side entrance where the staircase is.
Very cool. And if you are actually going and you are interested in getting a commission from Mary, I believe you're accepting pre-show commissions. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Pre-show, I don't draw anything at the convention, but you can pick them up if you order it online.
Awesome. And so for those of you who probably are new to the art game, essentially you're pre-ordering, right? And you're there and it's ready for pickup. Personally, I'm a big art collector. So personally, when folks offer an opportunity to get your commission done at home and just do a pickup, it tends to be of better quality. There's less distractions. There's less, stopping in between each piece of art. In fact, I think last week you posted a Squirrel Girl that I think you did for a show pickup. I freaking love it. I love Squirrel Girl. A lot of people don't know that about me. Julia thinks I'm nuts because I like Squirrel Girl, pun intended. And that was awesome. I was like, I want it, but then again, I want like half of everything that you post. So. All right, well, let's jump into some of these questions that I had for you. The first one I like to ask folks who are on this spotlight is, what is your first comic book memory as a kid?
Okay, so my mom and dad were both super into comic books. My dad loved Superman. They wanted to go to Comic-Con. I think they couldn't get into the first one, but when they finally were able to get into comic book conventions, my dad dressed as Superman, my mom dressed as a Kiss monster, and they got recognized at a convention. My dad was always taking like toilet paper tubes and drawing superheroes on them, like make them into little craft things. My mom was always drawing monsters. For me as a kid, when I actually got my first comic books, I don't know if anyone remembers the Star line with Marvel. They used to adapt 80s cartoons into comics. So those are the first comics that I started getting, like Strawberry Shortcake and Top Dog and Dennis the Menace, kind of stuff like that. But the first time I actually go, oh, hey, this is a comic book and I want to buy it, it had to be the Sonic the Hedgehog comic, because we love the dark dystopian cartoon, the Saturday morning one. And the comic kind of picked up. It started comedic, but then it really got darker. And we're like, yeah, this is really cool. So Sonic was like the first comic that I actually started to buy. And then eventually manga came over to America in a way that was easier to buy. At first, it was like, oh, you could go to Little Tokyo and get Tankobon, sorry. And that's how I got Sailor Moon originally, after seeing an ad for it in a video game magazine. So then I became hooked on manga. And that's my earliest memories of like comics and manga.
That's awesome. And look, I know we're still kind of getting to know each other on the personal level as well, but I feel like everything you just said in that answer is what has contributed to your unique style. I've even seen some of your Sonic the Hedgehog drawings, and I'm like, man, these are cool. They're like, they look like screenshots from the game or something, And
Thank you.
So that's actually really cool. That's awesome. It sounds like comic books are in your bloodline, and I hope your parents are proud of what you're doing, because you're making a living off of it, and you're throwing in some awesome art with some very, very well recognized licenses for sure.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Well, my next question for you is, who is your favorite comic book pro? And it could be modern or maybe whoever it was growing up, however you want to share it with us.
Okay, so it's really hard to pin down any one particular person. And I think I gravitate a little more towards unconventional kind of comics rather than mainstream comics. I kind of gravitate toward manga independent books, and now the YA graphic novels, and even some webtoon type stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna name a few things that I like. So I really like Rachel Smythe, I think that's her name. She created the Lore Olympus webtoon, and I, once I started reading it, I couldn't stop reading it. I love her kind of retro 50s-esque art. I love the whole Hades mythos. It's really fun, and I keep tuning in every week just to read it. You're like, hurry up, upload. Then there's like Vera Brasco, I think that's how you say. She did comics like Anya's Ghost, which is a little darker, about a girl who finds a skeleton in a well, and she kind of gets haunted by a ghost and has to deal with it. And then to her kind of story about a girl in summer camp called Be Prepared. I really like the way she draws her artwork and just the way she tells her stories. Then there's also like Jen Wang, who did The Princess in the Dress, Maker, Stargazing. I felt those stories were kind of very interesting. The stargazing about two friends and a girl who might have had an encounter or something, but I won't spoil it. And Raina Telgemeier, of course, I met her before she got published doing Smile and all that, way back when she was in Comics Bakery. So I kind of have a soft spot for her stuff. And then for a manga, I would have to say Rumiko Takahashi, because she's so prolific. And then Sailor Moon's creator, Naoko Takeuchi, and I hope I'm saying this right. But, their artwork was very influential, because Sailor Moon was one of the first girls kind of anime comics, manga comics that I really got into. So I think that those are some favorites right now. I mean, I'm sure there's tons more. I have, if you can see behind me, whole shelves of graphic novels and books and things. So it's hard to pin down any one particular person. I mean, even the Sonic artists like Spaz and Harvo with their amazing covers and splash pages. I mean, I think we were all influenced by them reading the Sonic comics growing up.
Yeah, that's awesome. I actually love Sailor Moon. People laugh at me, the grown ass man, but I've even I got Julia into it, my girlfriend, and she had never seen it. And I was like, oh, you gotta kind of watch it. I mean, she's also not that big of an anime fan, but she's kind of digging it. You mentioned Webtoon, which for those that aren't familiar, you should totally check out Webtoon. If you have been watching some of those Netflix originals, like those, I don't want to call them Korean dramas. They're more like Korean sci-fi horror series. A lot of them actually came from Webtoon, for those that are not familiar. So Webtoon, I think has made a splash as to what, digital content for folks who are more into just, reading and looking at the art as opposed to the physical content of collecting a comic book. I think folks should definitely check that out if it is something that they're interested in exploring. So we talked about a little bit about your early, introduction to comics. And right now, you are a comic book professional, you're a professional artist. What is your favorite memory so far as a pro at this point in your career?
I have to say it's interacting with the kids that I make the stuff for, like my own personal books. I've had people come up and they go, oh, I just want to try one. I'm not sure if I'm going to like it. And then they come back like 6 hours later and they buy everything on your table and they're gushing over your stuff and they want to take a picture with you. And one girl even did a book report on my stuff, and another kid would lock herself in the bathroom just to read my books. And I was like, oh my gosh, it feels amazing when people come up and tell you that they love your stuff. Because a lot of times you create stuff and you put it out in the world and you don't hear anything. You're like, does anyone even notice? Does anyone like my stuff? So having kids come up and validate, what you do, it's an amazing feeling. When I got asked to be a guest of honor at several pony conventions, I was like, what? It was really amazing because it's just great to be acknowledged and that something you create touches people and makes them feel happy. And being able to do that is just such a wonderful feeling. I mean, even being put on panels, being able to talk to people, like giant crowds of people. Because like when I was a kid, I was super shy. I'd never talk in front of doing this would probably make me so mortified. I'd be like, oh no. But it's a great feeling getting validated and being asked to talk about things and being able to reach out to fans. So I think that in itself is one of the best things about working in comics.
That's awesome. I mean, I love your work, but I can say that I've actually witnessed folks gushing over your work. I think I last saw you at WonderCon, and I was kind of waiting for your line to die down a little bit because I wasn't going to, cut or anything like that. And there was that one individual that I think was there the entire time with you. You know, he kept letting
Yeah.
people go, but he was like, no, no, I want to stay here and I want to talk. And he ended up doing a pretty cool drawing for him. So that made that kid's con for sure. You know, I mean, that was awesome. And congratulations. You know, I think it's very hard in the industry for a lot of creator-owned titles to you know, really get recognized. And I think that with what you've done, you know, it speaks to an audience that, you know, really finds value in it and really appreciates it. And, you know, if nothing else, the art style, even if folks aren't necessarily into the whole story, some folks collect just for art, right? Again, you have your unique style that is, in my opinion, truly yours. And I definitely dig it.
Thank you.
All right, so we're talking about you as a pro now. Is there one title that you hope you get to work on before you retire from the industry?
I think you probably already know it. That would have to be Sonic the Hedgehog, because it was such a pivotal title to my formation of like art and everything. Like I've been so close to working on it, and then like
Ooh.
Archie lost the rights, and then like stuff changed, and then I'm still knocking on the door. I'm like, please, please, I want to draw Sonic the Hedgehog. Let me draw all the cool girl characters, because that would be totally amazing. But yeah, like, so basically Sonic, but like I would also at the same time, I would love it if a mainstream publisher would just pick up my books and compile them into an omnibus and release it, because quite frankly, doing creator-owned books is great, but at the same time, the logistics of having to print stuff, to pay for stuff, to then distribute all this stuff, it's hard. And right now, like there's like a paper shortage and stuff from China is costing too much. So I'm like, if somebody would just like pick up my stuff and distribute it like on a big scale, I would die happy. So.
And I'm glad you brought that up. A lot of folks, you know, that are either trying to break into the industry or just curious about learning about it, really don't understand the behind the scenes stuff that goes into it. It is a lot of work for folks, especially if they are publishing their own, you know, creator owned stories and characters. You know, you own every piece of it, right? From beginning to end. And it is, especially in this time right now, where not just the shortages, but everything's so freaking expensive too, right? You know, it just, for me, it puts having an opportunity to have seen the behind the scenes stuff. It gives me a much better appreciation for what folks do when I am walking at a convention and I see, you know, the folks, you know, blasting their indie stuff, trying to promote it. It's a hustle. It's a hustle, and I definitely respect that hustle, and I have a sincere appreciation for that hustle. So, you know, I do hope that we get to see someone pick up the work that you created, and if, you know, even if it's still a while from now, I hope that between now and then you do get an opportunity to continue to push it on your own.
My one series, Fofax, is already 550 pages, and heck combined was like about 300 and some. I mean, I would make the perfect like omnibus edition, you know, and then you have to worry about sequels and stuff. It's like, hey, here it is, boom.
You've done all the heavy lifting already.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, you kind of already answered this question because when you were sharing, you know, your artist that you're a fan of right now, you also mentioned some of the titles that you were perhaps reading. But you know, is there one title that stands out that you did not work on that you're currently reading?
Oh man, so I'm that person that goes to a comic book store and goes to the YA graphic novels, and I buy like 50 books. So it's really hard for me to pin down like one particular thing. I don't know, like I've read all sorts of stuff, everything like by First Second. I pick up tons of their stuff, all the Scholastic Graphics imprints that have a female lead. If there's a female lead on the cover and there's something cute or magical about it, you know, I'm gonna like just grab that. Like I just picked up like 20 books when I was in Texas. So I'm like, yeah, I'm developing a bookshelf over there full of stuff. So I mean, anything with a magical girl, anything with a strong female lead, anything that is like sort of cartoony animation influenced, I'm gonna pick it up, no matter what it is.
Very cool. And I want to point out real quick, you know, we talk about strong female leads and kind of magical characters, which obviously speak a lot to your style. And I want to take a quick second, and I hope you don't mind. I just realized that of the cards I pulled and the sketch covers, I think only one of them was male, but we did challenge you You
Yes.
actually drew a bunch of male characters as well that you hadn't drawn, and they came out freaking fantastic. So
Thank
I'm
you.
excited for folks to actually get a chance to see that, because I think even for fans of your work, perhaps they don't get to see that side as often. So,
Yeah, I have drawn some male characters, but it's mostly for like trading card sets. Like I don't know if anyone knows, I worked with Cryptozoic, I worked Upper Deck, Rittenhouse. So I've done Marvel cards, I've done Adventure Time, I've done Ghostbusters, I've done Rick and Morty, like all sorts of stuff. If it's a cartoony kind of style, you will see it a lot more often. But yeah, female characters definitely do dominate my work.
and they're very well drawn. So, I can see why. So as we get a chance to wrap up, I've got two more questions for you. Is there anything we should keep an eye out in the future from you that, our fans or subscribers, anybody should just kind of keep an eye out and maybe keep on their radar?
Okay, so like I mentioned before, I'm now working for Renegade Games, and I'm doing RPG artwork for their RPG core book for My Little Pony. And I'm also doing tabletop games and expansion sets. If you look up Renegade Games, you can find them. I believe they're coming out in the third quarter of this year. The dates got pushed a little back. I'm not sure if that was a supply chain issue, but that's coming out. I'm going to have my 10th issue of Fofax coming out at San Diego Comic-Con, with only one more after that. At Comic-Con, I'll just have a bunch of my stuff. I'm going to have an exclusive lanyard, enamel pins, girl positive enamel pins, like Girls Love Science, Books Over Boys, strong but small but fierce. And basically, I'm just going to be working on what I can. I do a lot of coloring. I don't know if I color a lot of comics for people. I do color flatting, color assisting. So I've done work on Yehudi Mercado's Chunky 2, where he goes to camp. I just did Saifu 2. It just came out. I flatted Birds of Prey for Joe Flood for First Second. I do Cat Ninja, and I do Bright Family for Epic Comics. I think it's just Epic with an exclamation point, but you can find it. Bright Family and the Cat Ninja. And just keep an eye peeled, because I've got my fingers in everything, doing all sorts of cool stuff, and hoping to do more awesome stuff in the future.
Great, awesome. And obviously, by the time this airs, we would have announced a date for our boxes and the pre-orders and all that stuff. We're going to be tagging Mary on everything that we do related to her as well. So give her a follow. We don't have a Twitter account, but she is, I think, on all social media platforms. We'll tag her on her Instagram account for sure. And the last question as we wrap up, Mary, is what do you think about the IRF Authentics Autograph Mystery Box?
Well, to be honest, I hadn't heard of it before, because I'm kind of more in my little niche of cartoons and girls and animation and stuff. But when you approached me, I was actually kind of flattered. I was like, "You want me?" Because typically, I've got a very girl aesthetic. I've got an anime thing, which kind of isn't the mainstream. But I think it's really awesome that you're putting together these boxes, and that it's curated by people you've actually met and actually interacted with, rather than, oh, I just found some items here and I'm going to randomly put it in a box. The fact that the people, and that you interview us and talk to us and promote us, I think is really awesome. And I'm glad to be a part of it.
Thank you. Look, I'm glad to have you. And, I am so excited, not just because I love your art, but it's hard to get female artists or creators sometimes involved on what I do, and so I was super excited when you said yes. You are officially our first female creator, so more power to you. And I'm definitely grateful. And we have a female following. Julia, my better half, is always pretty involved as well. She's a little more behind the scenes. She's a little more camera shy, but for folks who have met us, they know, she's out there grinding it out with me as well. And before we wrap up, one thing we do on these featured artist spotlights is we always drop some sort of an Easter egg. And I just felt this one was appropriate. First of all, I mentioned that half of the box, every box is going to have some sort of art piece from Mary. Half of them will be sketch covers. Half of them will be full color sketch cards. Well, we kept geeking out a little bit earlier on Sailor Moon, and hopefully this goes to someone who at minimum is an anime fan. I know the two genres don't always mix, but Mary did a super cool, and I'm actually going to pull this one out, but she did a super cool connecting sketch card set with the Sailor Guardians on it. So someone's going to get both cards, And there you go. Yep, kind of right there. And this is just freaking awesome. The colors. I mean, you mentioned you do a lot of coloring for comics. I can see why. I love your colors. I love your style. I think you know, anybody who gets a box and pulls out a piece of art from you is going to be pretty happy with it. And hopefully, you get some people hitting you up shortly after. You know, once they get their boxes and they see you know, the offers that you put in there. You know, maybe you get a couple commissions, and if you do and you post it, please tag us so that we can share with everyone. And did you have anything you wanted to throw out there before we wrap this up?
Okay, so if you're looking for my web presence, my website is marybellamy.com. You want to find my web store, it's zorilita.com. And you can probably pretty much find me everywhere under Zorilita. Like I said, I'm taking commissions right now ahead of San Diego Comic-Con. So if you want to order a commission, you can pay me. I do the commission, and then you can just pick it up at San Diego Comic-Con. That way you don't have to worry about shipping. And thanks for taking the time to interview me.
Yeah, thank you for the time that you put not only into this interview, but to everything that you did for our box. We're super excited. And we'll keep you posted as we get closer to launch. And I'm pretty sure this isn't the last time we're going to get a chance to work together. I will definitely see you in San Diego. I'm looking forward to it. Finally back at SDCC. And, you know, we'll be in touch. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. A special thank you for those of you who stuck around for the whole thing. And remember, if it isn't signed, it isn't complete. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.